All right, let's get right into it. For this explainer, we are cracking open Chapter 4, Theoretical Considerations and Practical Applications. And this is from the book Speech Sound Disorders in Children. Basically, we're going to peel back the layers on how we even think about speech, and you'll see why getting the theory right can literally change a kid's life. So everything kicks off with a case file. I want you to meet Luke. He's 4 years old, and when he talks, well, it's pretty much a mystery. The official report calls him unintelligible, which, is the polite clinical way of saying we have no fucking idea what he's saying most of the time. And this isn't just a kid who can't say his R's or something. No. This is a whole systemic problem. So that's our mission today. We are going to become speech detectives. What the hell does unintelligible actually mean? Is it all just random mistakes, just glitches in the system? Or is there a hidden pattern, a secret code that we can actually crack? To solve the whole case of Luke, we've got to find the rulebook that he's playing by, even if he doesn't know it exists. Okay, so clue number 1. You have to understand that every single sound that comes out of our mouths has two sides to it. It's kind of like a coin, right? You've got the physical sound itself, and then you've got the job that sound is supposed to be doing. On one side of that coin, you've got form. This is the nuts and the bolts, the pure physics of it. Can the kid physically make a P sound with their lips? Yes? Great. But then you flip the coin, and you've got function. What is the purpose of that P sound? Its job is to tell you the difference between K and cup. A kid might be able to make a perfect P sound all day long, but if they leave it off the end of every single word, the function is totally broken, and that's when communication just falls apart. The form is there, but the function, it's gone. And this brings us to probably the most important piece of evidence for any speech detective, the phoneme. You gotta get this. A phoneme isn't just a sound, it's a meaning maker. It is the absolute smallest unit that can completely flip the meaning of a word. Think about pa versus ba in pat and bat. That one little change, that's a phoneme doing its job. So when we're analyzing Luke's speech, we're not just listening for noises. We are hunting for the system of meaning he's actually using. Now, to really appreciate the modern tools we have, you gotta look at the old school toolkit first. These were the first attempts to crack the code, and we call them the straight line or linear theories. Basically, they looked at speech like it was just a string of beats, one sound right after another in a nice, neat little line. The first major tool they used was called distinctive features. And this is a lot like dusting a crime scene for fingerprints. The idea is that every single sound has its own unique DNA, these tiny little components that make it different from all the others. These are the microscopic clues that distinguish one sound from another. Check this out. Take the sounds k and g. Go ahead and say them. K, g. They are made in the exact same place in your mouth, with your tongue in the exact same position. The only difference, the single distinctive feature, is voicing. For g, your vocal cords vibrate. For k, they don't. That tiny little on-off switch is the only thing separating coat from goat. That's a distinctive feature right there in action. Okay, so the next tool they developed was called natural phonology. And this was a huge leap forward because it was the first time people realized that kids' mistakes aren't random at all. They actually follow these super predictable patterns. So now we're not just dusting for prints. We are profiling the suspect. We're understanding their common moves, their MO, their patterns. We're seeing their so-called errors for what they really are, a system of shortcuts. And these are what those shortcuts, or the fancy term phonological processes, look like. You've heard these a million times. Kids are smart. They simplify things. They drop the last consonant off a word, so head becomes heh. They turn a long, hissy S sound into a short, punchy T, that's called stopping, so sun becomes ton. They turn a really tricky R sound into an easy W, that's gliding. And they take a consonant cluster, like esp, in spoon, and just chop it down to P, so you get pun. See? These aren't mistakes. It's a system, a predictable, totally natural system for making adult speech easier. So for a long, long time, these linear theories were the best tools in the kit. They were how we investigated speech. But then there was a plot twist, a total game changer that just blew the whole investigation wide open. It forced everyone to basically rethink the entire case from the ground up. And the big realization was this: the sounds themselves, those little individual beads on a string, they weren't actually in charge. The whole straight-line approach was missing a massive piece of the puzzle. It turns out there was a higher power at play. And this new model is called non-linear phonology. So I want you to forget that straight line of beads. This is a power structure, an org chart. Instead of a flat line, this theory said, no, speech is a hierarchy. And the whole idea is that bigger things like the syllable structure or the stress on the word, those things actually control the smaller sounds inside of them. It's a top-down system. So think about it this way. The old theory, that was like a line of dominoes. One falls, it hits the next one, and so on. But this new way, this is a corporate ladder. The CEO, that's the syllable structure, makes a big decision, and that decision trickles all the way down and affects all the employees. Those are the individual sounds. So for instance, a kid might drop the last consonant of a word, but only in words with more than one syllable. The number of syllables, the big boss, is telling the little sounds what to do. And this new way of thinking, this hierarchical model, it led to our most modern, our most dynamic, and, let's be honest, our coolest theory yet. We are at the climax of our investigation now, people, so welcome to the final showdown. And it's called optimality theory. Seriously, the best way to picture this is as a constant raging deathmatch happening inside the brain. In one corner, you have the powerful drive to say a word perfectly, exactly like an adult. And in the other corner, you have the equally powerful drive to just say it in the easiest, most simple way you possibly can. So let's meet our two fighters. First up, you've got faithfulness. This is the rule follower, the perfectionist. Its only goal is to be 100% faithful to how adults say the word. Its mantra is, be accurate. But then, you've got markedness. This is the slacker, right? It's always looking for the path of least resistance. Its only goal is to make things easy. Be simple, avoid hard sounds, get rid of complex structures. And every single time we go to speak, these two forces are at war. Okay, let's watch this deathmatch in action with the word skip. The adult version, skip, is perfect. It totally satisfies faithfulness, but it violates markedness because that's k cluster is kind of hard to say. Now look at the kids version, sip. This totally satisfies markedness. No hard cluster, easy peasy. But it violates faithfulness because you had to delete the K sound. Well, in a young child's brain, the be simple rule is often ranked higher than the be accurate rule. So SIP becomes the optimal output. It wins the deathmatch. Okay. I know this is all fascinating brain science, but let's bring it back to the precinct. Let's bring it back to Luke. What does all this high-level abstract theory actually mean for a real kid who people can't understand? I mean, why does any of this matter? Well, it matters because if you understand the underlying system, the why behind all the errors, you can be a hell of a lot smarter and faster about the fix. You're not just playing whack-a-mole anymore, trying to fix one sound at a time. No, you are targeting the entire operating system. And this is exactly how we turn theory into a weapon. This here is the sonority hierarchy. It basically just ranks sounds from easy to produce to hard to produce. Now, the old way was to teach the easy sounds first, right? Makes sense. But the new research, based on these theories, shows that if you target a harder sound from higher up the pyramid, the kid's brain often just figures out all the easier ones below it automatically. It creates this incredible domino effect that makes therapy way, way more efficient. And that, right there, is the whole ballgame. It is the difference between teaching a kid how to lay one brick correctly and just handing them the architectural blueprint for the entire building. By understanding the rules, whether it's distinctive features or optimality theory, we can create interventions that actually rewire a child's entire phonological system, not just put a little patch on one tiny error. So in the end, we cracked the case. Luke's unintelligible speech, it isn't just a mess of random mistakes. It's a system, a logical, rule-governed system where the drive for simplicity is just winning out over the drive for accuracy. And that leaves us with one last thought to chew on. If something as messy and chaotic as a child's speech actually follows a hidden rulebook, what else does? What other parts of our own behavior that seem totally random are actually just the optimal solution to a secret, internal battle we don't even know we're fighting?